All right, let's get started. As a skilled manual tester, you have superpowers. Seriously, your understanding of how an application is supposed to behave, your knack for finding edge cases, that's the foundation of everything. Today, we're just going to translate those skills from your clicks into code. Think of this less as learning a foreign language and more like learning a new way to write down the test cases you already know by heart. You know the feeling. It's that end of sprint regression, and there it is again, the login test. Username, password, click, check for the welcome message. You could do it in your sleep. And while that repetition is great for ensuring quality, it's also the perfect job to hand off to a machine. And this is where we make that shift. I don't want you to think of Playwright as some scary, complex programming thing. Instead, think of it as a brand new power tool for your testing toolkit. It's designed for one thing, to handle all that heavy, repetitive lifting, which frees you up to do what you do best, the clever, exploratory testing where a human brain really shines. So, where on earth do we start? We start with the absolute basics, the blueprint. In any manual test case, your first step is something like navigate to the page and find the username field. Our automation script needs that exact same instruction. Before we can do anything at all, we have to tell it how to find the right element on the page. Think about how you do this now. You look at a login page and your brain just instantly sees the words username and connects it to the box next to it. You don't even think about it. Well, the code on the right is just us writing down that exact thought process for the computer. We're literally saying, hey page, go get the thing that has the label username. It's a direct translation of what you're already doing. In that command we just wrote, it has a name. It's called a locator. That's all it is, a unique address that tells our script exactly where to find one specific thing on a crowded web page. The banking analogy here is perfect. You can't just send a wire transfer to your friend's account. You need a specific sort code and an account number, a totally unique address. A locator does the exact same job for our script. It's the unique account number for the login button, ensuring we're interacting with the right element and not something else on the page. So, why is this such a big deal? Well, for 3 reasons. First, it's just easy to read. Get by label username makes perfect sense. Second, it's robust. Think about it. A developer might move the login button from the left to the right side of the page. If you were testing based on position, your tests would break. But since we're looking for the label, it doesn't matter where it moves. And finally, it's precise. Playwright is what we call strict. If it finds 2 things that match your locator, it doesn't guess. It just stops and says, hey, I'm confused, which is exactly what you want to prevent accidental clicks. Fantastic. So we've got our blueprint. We know how to find any element on the page. Now for the fun part, let's actually do something with them. This is where we bring our test to life. You'll see that pretty much every single automated step follows this simple 3-part rhythm. Number 1, you use your locator to find the thing. Number 2, you perform an action on it. You click it, you fill it with text. And number 3, you await confirmation. That's it. Locate, act, await. You're going to see this pattern over and over and over again. Okay, that third step, await, is probably the single most important new concept we're going to cover. Here's the deal. Your script runs at lightning speed, way, way faster than a website can load or react. Await is just our way of telling the script, hey, pump the brakes for a second. Pause and wait for the website to finish what it's doing before you move on. Let's go back to our bank. A customer wants to make a withdrawal. You enter it into the system. You don't just hand them the cash immediately, right? You wait for that little spinner to finish, for the system to say, transaction confirmed. You are awaiting that confirmation. Await in our code does the exact same thing. It waits for the click to be fully registered by the website before it tries to do the next thing. Trust me, this one little word prevents almost all common test failures. So let's see how this looks in practice. To type test user, we start with await. Then we locate the field, page.bylabel username, and then we tell it what action to perform, .fill test user. Same deal for the login button. We start with await, then we locate the button, and then we tell it to .click. You see that pattern? Await, then locate, then act. It's the core of every single command. Okay, so we've found our elements, we've interacted with them, but did it work? Now we get to the most important part of any test, whether it's manual or automated. Deciding if it passed or failed. It's time to deliver the verdict. In the world of automation, we call this final check an assertion. Now, don't let the fancy word throw you off. You are already an expert at assertions. An assertion is just the expected result column in your manual test case. It's that moment where you ask, did the thing I expected to happen actually happen? If the answer is yes, the test passes. If it's no, it fails. Simple as that. Let's use our bank analogy one last time. You performed an action, the money transfer. You awaited confirmation. The assertion is the moment you pull up the customer's bank statement to verify the result. Did the balance go down by the correct amount? Is the transaction listed in the history? That critical verification step is the assertion. It is the moment of truth for your test. And just like before, your manual checks translate directly into code. When your test case says, visually confirm the welcome message appears, the code literally says, await expect this thing to be visible. When you check if a button is clickable, the code checks if it is .to be enabled. It reads almost like a plain English sentence that describes exactly what you're checking, but it does it with perfect precision every single time. We have covered so much ground here, finding elements, acting on them, and verifying the results. So let's wrap it all up. Let's distill everything we've talked about into 3 golden rules that will guide you as you start writing your first tests. Okay, rule number 1, trust what the user sees. Always try to find elements using the text and labels that are visible on the screen. It makes your test so much more stable. Rule 2, always wait for confirmation. Put await before every single action and assertion. I'm not exaggerating when I say this solves about 90% of the problems that make tests flaky. And finally, rule 3, test for robustness. A test passing one time is good. A test passing 100 times in a row, that's a test you can actually rely on. So now you have the blueprint. You understand the core ideas of locating, acting, and asserting. So I want to leave you with a question to think about. What's that one repetitive, boring test case that you absolutely dread seeing on your list? Is it a login flow? Filling out a long form? That's your first target. That is where your automation journey really begins.